So I am selling my house, and it's probably not for the reasons that you're thinking. So let's break this down on a couple of different reasons on why this is the right decision for me and my family, and some ideas for you if you may be in the position where you make a move the next year or couple of years, to keep these in mind. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Stubbs. I'm a team leader and co-founder here at the SB Luxury Group, one of the fastest growing teams in Southern California. So let's go, and at the end of this video, after I give you all the information of why I'm making this move, I'll give you an idea of going through the process as a homeowner and not as an agent, a few tips that might make your life a little bit easier. So first and foremost is capital gains. If you do not know what capital gains are, it means that you have a gain. It's a profit is a capital gain is a tax. So you have to pay taxes on profit. So if you bought something for $500,000 and you sold it for $800,000, you would have a capital gain of $300,000. Now you do have to pay taxes on capital gain, not as high as your income tax rate. So if you get a paycheck and half of that goes to taxes, we all love that. Capital gains aren't quite as much, but it can be as much as 20-25% depending on how much money we're talking about. Now, here's an awesome thing about owning real estate. The government wants people to own real estate, so there are a ton of tax advantages for owning real estate. And one of them is you can avoid paying taxes on capital gains on your primary residence, up to $250,000 on your own personal home if you're single, and up to $500,000 if you're married. For me, it makes sense to make this move now because I'm over that limit of what I can go and not pay taxes on. And what I can do is when I go and buy my next property, I can reset that so that if I go and upgrade 5 or 10 years down the road when I have another several $100,000 in equity appreciation, then I can make that move again and hopefully not have to pay a ton of capital gains tax. Now, anytime you're paying taxes on a profit, it's not that bad because obviously you made a profit, so it's good news, bad news. But that's one of the major reasons is if I sell now, I can utilize all of that tax benefit, pay a really small portion of taxes, and roll that into my next property and then start that clock over again. Number 2, life changes. There are 7 different D's that lead to people making a move, and I thought it would be an interesting point to share. It's diploma, downsizing, death, debt, disaster, diapers, and displacement. So what that means is diploma, a lot of times college moves parents, or when somebody goes to college, they're usually going to move, and oftentimes that might trigger a sale. Downsizing is pretty obvious. If you are living in a 2-story home that you raised your family in and you do not need these 5 or 6 bedrooms anymore and you want to downsize to a nice, easy single level, you can do that, and that's downsizing. Call me if you're looking to do that. Debt, I mean, that one's pretty obvious. Debt, if you can't service the debt anymore, you're not making your payments because the house is just too much money. Disaster, that's pretty obvious as well too. Diapers, growing families always lead to home purchases and moving. And then displacement, we're seeing a ton of this. This is relocation with a D. Basically, all of these companies that are starting, I just saw Elon Musk put out a huge thing. He's investing a ton of money into Nevada and Arizona areas. So that is going to be another reason people move. For me, it was a growing family with dogs. I know we have 2 dogs, so we need a little bit bigger yard, and it made a lot of sense for us. I felt like I would take advantage of a heating up housing market here in the beginning of the year as well too. Number 3 is what is the worst thing that can happen? Hedging my bet, really. Obviously, I'm in the real estate industry, if you can't already tell. So all of my income is tied up in helping families buy, sell, invest in real estate. Worst thing that could happen, housing market crashes big time. Maybe my income goes down, and I'd probably be glad that I sold if that was the worst thing that happened. If that's the worst case scenario, I would probably be pretty happy that I sold my home. Now, I love this saying. So everybody says, what's the worst thing that can happen? And then fears that. But also, I like to flip that on its head. And what is the best thing that can happen? Well, the best thing that can happen is what most people are in the industry are predicting is going to happen is it's going to be a pretty boring year in real estate. It's going to be pretty flat, plus or minus a few percent appreciation, depreciation. but not the 20-30% like some of these headlines are leading you to believe. So if that's the case, we are growing our team dramatically. So income will probably stay pretty flat, and I'll be like, oh man, I wish I didn't sell, because it's always a good idea to hold on. But all these other reasons made it make sense. So for me, what's the worst thing that can happen? What's the best thing that can happen? I think it just makes sense, and it's a good time for me to, one, take advantage of the market and deal with all these other reasons that I'm giving you as well too. Lastly, number 4, I am a business person. I'm an entrepreneur, and I love starting businesses. And I see a huge opportunity to get into real estate investing, which was why I got into real estate in the first place, and really put the equity that I've earned over time to use in growing additional businesses. For example, a fix and flip and a buy and hold rental portfolio. Those are something that I'm looking to grow over the next 3 to 5 years. And I think right now is a fantastic time. And there's also other businesses that are associated with real estate. So for me, having some of that dry powder ready to go is, I think, what makes the most sense on top of all these other reasons. Okay, now I mentioned at the beginning of the video that I would share a tip for homeowners, so that I'm looking at this as me selling my own personal property. But obviously I do this with families all the time, helping them sell their homes. Just something that I found interesting. This is my first time selling my own personal property. Is biggest thing that I've realized is to do the little upgrades while you're in the house. I just did carpet, paint, gonna stage the home because that's what sells the home for as much money as possible. Yes, I am taking my own advice. And just do those upgrades when you're there. Just got the paint done yesterday, walked through the property, and I'm like, man, I should have done that 5 years ago. Spent the money up front, enjoyed it the whole time, as opposed to just doing that upgrade right before you sell the house. I know most people, you either do all the remodels in the beginning right when you move in, or you don't do them at all. I would just say do them. If you're thinking about doing that little upgrade that you're gonna need to do anyway when you sell your property, do it if you can, if it's not too much of an inconvenience. That's my number 1 tip. So if you are in that stage where the next 2-3 years you're thinking about making a move, not right now, give your realtor a call, give me a call, and like, what are the little upgrades you're gonna need to do to your house anyway that you might as well enjoy after you've spent the money on? So that's it. Those are my reasons, and I hope you found value out of this. If you're thinking about doing this and you want to get an overview of, what should you do to your house, if anything, or your takes on the market, reach out and let us know. Again, as always, my name is Christian. Thanks for watching. Bye.